So, talking from a managerial point, is I know we focused on, we kind of touched the surface, but I want to hit directly on the target at this point. How do I know if I'm a good manager? How do I know that I'm taking good care of my employees? How do I know that I'm actually being a substantial part of the business, whether I be the business owner itself or part of the big machine itself?
Yeah. Couple of different ways. The biggest test for me is how do you people act? How's the execution? How's the activity when you're absent? Right? That's one of the, I think, number one drivers to understand, hey, do I have an impact in my people, and are they bought in? Are they developed? Do they have autonomy? Do they have the know-how enough to say, if I'm not behind this thing, pushing the needle and driving it, then they're doing it themselves, right? If you're a manager and you always have to be there to get results, it does show that you may be missing some components, essentially. I think that's one of the things. Something as simple as asking. A lot of people don't ask because they're afraid of the answer, right? But if you have that personal relationship, here we go again, right? You should be in a position that you are able to ask your people, hey, what could I be doing better? And sometimes I don't even like that question, to be honest with you, because most of the times you get it, well, everything's good because of fear.
Yeah.
And if that person has fear of retaliation or the fact that you'll hold something, that's another indication that they don't have a personal relationship with you. They don't understand that the reason you ask that question is out of a genuine place to wanting to push and move this needle forward. We've heard this thing that management is babysitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So use that same analogy. If these were your kids, so to speak, how do you know you're being a good parent? Well, number one, it's how the decisions they make when you're not present, right? What they actually do when you're not present. Number two, they tell you that, right? They tell you it because they trust that if they tell you it, whether they say, Mommy, I didn't like the way you talk to me, or Daddy, that you're not going to, all right, well, I'm going to drop you off somewhere. I don't want to be a parent anymore, right? Mm-hmm. But it all ties down to some simple things like that. The results, they say the proof is always in the pudding. The results has a part to do with your level of execution, but it's not the testament of if you're a good manager, because there are managers who are the crack the whip, whatever it takes. If we got to work 90 hours a week, we're going to get these results, and they get the results, but at what cost, right? So are your people, what's your turnover like? Are your people really vested? Are they excited to be there? There are a few different things, but I think the constant asking yourself the constant question, and every single day, whether that's before your day start or at the end of your day, to do something or to slow down enough to look at your day from that angle, I think is huge. It's just consistently, am I staying true to my mission? Am I staying true to my people?
In a case, let's just say that a partnership situation, does that apply to a partnership too? Me and you are co-owners. Can I ask the other owner, do you believe I'm a good business partner? Is that still applicable?
100%, or even a question along the lines of what could I be doing better, right? But it ties back again to that personal relationship, right? We have to understand that the personal relationship is really about understanding. I know that we both need this business to be successful, right? And so can we have these difficult conversations? It's not about the things you love about each other. That's a given, right? But how well do you deal with the things that are difficult? How well are you having those conversations, and you're moving forward and you're staying true to the mission of the fact that we have an obligation to make sure this thing is successful, not just for the problem we're going to solve for the community, but how it's going to impact the lives of our families and the people that we're doing this for. So just, you can't be uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's what we're talking about a lot, and a lot of that is just having those difficult conversations.
And from an employee side, do you recommend that an employee ask their manager that? And I'm saying outside of, people usually have 30-day reviews,
Mm-hmm.
60-day reviews. Outside of the review period, should an employee ask their manager, hey, how am I doing as an employee?
Mm-hmm. 100%. That's always been my run as an employee, is having a conversation with my superior, my boss, or whatever the case is, saying, hey, what could I be doing better? And not only what could I be doing better, but it's important to at least have some alignment in what are my goals? What do you expect of me, right? And the constant communication of where we at based on what we establish as a mutual goal, as something that I need to do. But to me, if you're not growing, if you're not asking those questions, if you're not challenging yourself at your job or career, a lot of people try to look for different careers because they're not fulfilled, when a lot of the times is that they just haven't taken ownership in their career at the present moment, right? They are always pursuing passions. Okay, well, I love photography, so this job is not for me. I'm walking off this job. What do you love about photography? Okay, well, I love capturing moments. I love communicating some aesthetics, across the board. I love the way people feel when they see something different. So is it that you love photography, or is it that you love those things that photography allows you to do? Photography may just be the vehicle. So could this job be a vehicle that allows you to do the same things too,
So kind of just opening up your mind to different possibilities. Kind of just, at the end of the day, what I've gotten from this is communication.
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk.
Mm-hmm. We have to.
If we're not talking, nothing's going to happen.
And you can't have a genuine conversation without a personal relationship.
So while you mentioned something, you mentioned that the employee is interested in photography. And I know a lot of people, and a lot of the viewers, ironically, today, will be people that work those 9 to 5s, but also work those 5 to 9s. And usually what happens in that case is they're working a lot of hours, whether they be working those 40-hour jobs that kind of spill into the after hours, and then they start working their side job, or whether they have a strict 40 hours and they're up till midnight doing their side job. So what are the ways that we can find ourselves being productive at work without overworking ourselves?
I love that, because when we talk about my focus on mental health and making sure that at the end of the day, we're not focused on maximizing performance while compromising vitality. It's really important to me. I think that you got to be honest with yourself in understanding, first and foremost, where you're at in life, right? Everybody wants a destination. Everybody's focused on getting somewhere. A lot of times we don't realize we got to ask ourselves, why? Why is that destination important to me? Why do I think that that's fulfillment? Is it because I really believe that's what I want, or is it because it looks good on somebody else? Mm-hmm. And then put in the plan of action of how am I going to get there? So say, hey, one day I want to own this company that is a digital marketing company, right? That's my destination. That's my goal. Mm-hmm. I work this job right now that requires me to work 10 hours a day. And when I get off, I'm super tired, but I know I have to start building these different things in order to be able to get to this destination. We want the destination, and a lot of people are good with the goal. They're good with the plans. But there's one thing that we tend to leave off, and that is sacrifice. What do I have to give to get, right? And so when you look at the job that you may be working and the time that you'll have to put in after that to truly be successful, whatever you think you need to do to get this thing done, a lot of times we don't take the sacrifice into account and say, okay, what do I have to give? Is there a possibility that, hey, if I need a job, that I need to still work that job? Do I probably need to find a job with lesser hours that will still pay me the bills, may not give me an extra lifestyle that I want to live outside of that and have fun and still be able to plug into my business? Like you have to be able to give up something to get something. Mm-hmm. So I think looking at it from that angle and asking yourself, all right, cool, how do I, because at the end of the day, if you are killing yourself, I can't deal with these motivational speakers that say sleep 4 hours a night, you have to outwork everybody in the room, and that sounds good, bro. That sounds good. But do you want to get to this destination and not truly have a quality of life to enjoy it? Like the reason you want to reach this thing is because that's where fulfillment lies for you. So you want a life to get there, and you can't be anything for the people around you because you've given so much unhealthily to this thing. But you have to understand who you are, what you can truly give, what you're aiming for, and ask yourself honestly, what do I have to give up right now that won't cost me necessarily my health to be able to attain that? A lot of people are killing themselves, literally, working 60, 70 hours a week trying to achieve a result, because they don't really have a destination, a clear destination on what they want their life to look like. You know, I've talked to people all the time that don't have a vision statement for their life.
Yep.
Well, what does that mean, Jovan? What are you aiming at? Because if you're aiming at something, you'll hit it. But if you're aiming at nothing, you'll hit it, right? And so my vision statement says I want to challenge, inspire, and empower every single life that I come into contact with while building generational wealth for my family and God's kingdom for further impact. That's my vision statement. So everything I do from that is stemmed from this vision statement. So I understand, because I want to build generationally and I want to be here for the people that I love, that there's certain things I have to make sure are in check. You know, I have to make sure my health is good and I'm getting enough rest. But I know me. I can't sleep 4 hours a night and perform. I'd be grumpy. Mm-hmm. But you have to know yourself and be honest and just ask yourself what you're willing to sacrifice.
So how do I come up with a vision statement? Let's just say in our case, I'm a professional cook, and I know that I want to eventually leave my job to do celebrity cooking or something full time, rest of my life. I know that's what I want to do, but that's not a vision statement though. So how do I figure out my vision statement? How do I figure out what direction I need to go into?
I think definitely always starting kind of with the why, like your legacy. Okay, I look at a vision statement from, you know, simple analogy. If everybody was at my funeral talking about me, this is what they would say. This is the impact that my life would have made on this earth. So number one, I always talk about what I do: challenge, inspire, empower. Right? What's your, you know, my good friend Charles Clark always talks about your word of impact. Like, what's that word that you mean or that you apply in every other area of your life? So challenge, inspire, empower. That's what I do. Who you plan to do it for, right? Why you do it, and then what will happen as a result of you doing it well or you achieving this thing. So I want to challenge, inspire, empower who? Every single life that I come into contact with. Why you do it? Because I want to build generational wealth for my family and God's kingdom for further impact. And then what will happen as a result of that is that I would have ended or had an impact in ending the lack of true life fulfillment worldwide.